Seems like he has some ability, I wonder where he came from. Luo Feng glanced and didn't think anymore. The authorization process ended very quickly. Of the 101 Sector Lords, there were a total of 2 Sector Lord Warriors, 62 Elite Sector Lord Warriors and 37 normal Sector Lord Warriors. Sector Lord and Universe level, the authorization process was the fastest. Even though the Domain Lords had 10 internal members going through the authorization process at the same time, it still took a long time before it ended. The authorization process has all ended. The Undying's voice suddenly grew louder, resounding within the ears of the over 10,000 warriors. All of you follow me, in a while I'll send you all to the alien battlefield. This race war has many warriors participating, hence there's a total of 11 battlefields, all of them are outside of the human territories, hence they're called the alien battlefields. You'll be heading to the 7th battlefield. 7th battlefield? All outside of the human territories? My teacher is at the 2nd battlefield, looks like there's no hope of meeting him. Immediately there were all sorts of discussions. Luo Feng thought within, 7th battlefield? The average death rate is 96.8%, it's ranked 3rd out of the 11, it's not a bad place to train. Depart. The Undying ordered. Immediately the grandiose army of over 10,000 warriors headed forward. Luo Feng and the other sector lords were naturally at the front. After a while, they arrived at a huge palace. This palace had a diameter of over 1,000 kilometers. This huge palace had 11 huge water screen-like pathways. This is the pathway to the 7th battlefield. The Undying walked before one of the water screens. The 7th battlefield is a universe secret region with a diameter of about 1.1 million light years. Of course, after trillions of years of slaughter, the danger of this secret region itself has been weakened to the extreme. The main threat is from the alien races. There's a total of 100 army bases in the 7th battlefield. You've all arrived at base 026. This water curtain was 1 kilometer wide and 1 kilometer high. What? The sector lords entered one by one, Luo Feng too followed, the over 10,000 soldiers quickly entered. Using the God Country as a transit point, Luo Feng and the over 10,000 soldiers arrived at the God Country transit point and once again entered the space tunnel, after which they were teleported to the 7th battlefield outside of the human domain, Army Camp 026. Luo Feng stepped out of the God Country transit point and felt the space before him warp, arriving at another place. Haha, the new recruits are here. There are new recruits. Quick, 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 stop sleeping and get to work. Shouts rang out one after another. Luo Feng immediately saw a dozen white-armored soldiers. Oh, not all of them, there was even a white-haired white-robed Undying. That Undying smiled, his eyes gleaming with electricity. He said, "Recruits, welcome to the 7th battlefield, Army Base 026. Sector Lords all follow him, Domain Lords all follow this punk, Universe Levels all follow this young lady." The white-robed Undying swiftly chose 3 leaders. The Universe Levels, Domain Lords and Sector Lords all followed 3 different paths. Various World Lords, up ahead is the World Lords camp. The guide spoke. Moments later, he arrived at an elegantly decorated large hall. Within it there were over 10 million seats. With one look, Luo Feng estimated that there were at least a few 100,000 sector lords sitting here. Why are there so many sector lord soldiers? Luo Feng was shocked. A universe country has a few million sector lords, the human domain has a total of 1,008 universe countries. And the alien battlefield has a total of 11 battlefields, every battlefield has 100 bases. On average, how many sector lords are there in each base? It can't be that all the human sector lords are participating in the war, right? And in theory, there should be many sector lords going out to kill, the ones remaining in the bases should be the minority. Why are there at least a few 100,000 sector lords? The other 100 sector lord recruits were equally shocked. Hi. The leader shouted loudly, the recruits are here. There are 2 realm lord warriors in this batch of recruits, haha. After the leader finished speaking, he turned around and left. Sector Lord Warlords? Sector Lord Warlords? The sector lord soldiers that were originally drinking and chatting, over 10,000 of them ran over. When the sector lord soldiers got close to each other, the quantum computers they carried would inform them of their authority, hence the gazes of these 10,000 old soldiers immediately landed on Luo Feng and another tall youth. Join our elite team. Our elite team is led by an Undying, will get more points, the chances of surviving from danger will be higher. Our team is stronger. You too. These old soldiers were madly inviting Luo Feng and Tyrant. They couldn't be bothered with the other 99 sector lord recruits. After a while, Luo Feng and the tall youth sat at a table. Beside them sat an Undying dressed in blood-red armor with a scaled tail. This Undying was called Tai Wo, an Earth Undying. It was because this Undying was the first to personally invite them. Luo Feng and Tyrant finally chose to chat with this Undying under the invitations of the 10,000 old soldiers. As for whether or not they would join, they didn't give a definite answer yet. Captain Tai Wo, why are there so many sector lords here? Luo Feng asked. The alien battlefield has a total of 11 battlefields, every battlefield has 100 bases, why are there so many sector lords resting here? I'm curious too. The tall youth beside asked curiously. Haha. Tai Wo personally poured wine. Let's drink and chat, Madman Rock. It's not just you two, actually many of the sector lord recruits were curious when they first arrived. How could there be so many sector lords? If you interact with more sector lord soldiers and chat with them, you'll know the reason. Luo Feng and Tyrant looked at him. Actually, the humans in the 1008 universe countries are only a part of the human race. Captain Tai Wo smiled. According to what I know, there are many continents in the universe secret regions, and these huge continents all have countless humans living on them. It's said that some of these continents have diameters of up to 100 billion kilometers etc., and the population of a single continent is comparable to a universe country. Luo Feng was stunned. Continents? Right. The Gold Horn race lived on Lasuo world that was an extremely huge continent. Blood River world too was an extremely huge continent, and the number of warriors on these two continents indeed far exceeded that of a universe country. In the human territory, there are many such continents in the universe secret regions. Those places are filled with abundant universe energies, and the humans living there are almost star traveler at maturity, nurturing many strong warriors. Tai Wo smiled. This is one aspect. There are also large numbers of human undyings in their god countries. There will be large numbers of humans too. God country humans, universe secret region humans, universe country humans, these are the ones that form the human race. Tai Wo smiled. Like many of our life and death brothers, some have grown up in their own god countries, some live on large continents. However, their material lifestyles are far from that of the universe country humans, just like the virtual universe network. Only by reaching the universe level can one have the chance to enter. Luo Feng was shocked as he listened. He immediately connected to the virtual universe network and searched for information. With his authority, he immediately found everything. Humans, according to their living environment, could indeed be split into god country humans, universe secret region humans and universe country humans. Universe country humans didn't have many people. One had to know that those universe secret region continents, each continent was comparable to a universe country, and one secret region could easily build over 10,000 continents. And the Undying's god countries were also incomparably vast, and large numbers of humans could live within. Since the universe secret region continents can sustain large numbers of humans. However, why do they still have to fight for territory? Luo Feng had wondered about this back in Lasuo world. Only after he became the direct disciple of the primal chaos city leader did he have the authority to find the answer. Wars, they fought for territory. Why fight? According to Luo Feng's information, just like how plants required sufficient sunlight to grow, the moment the plants were too dense they wouldn't grow well. Same logic. The formation of life was very special, no matter if it was a flesh and blood life form, automaton life form, plant life etc., as long as it was a life form, it would absorb the essence of the entire universe. Life's nurturing, growth, was formed by absorbing the universe's special energy. For example, within 1,000 light years, there was a life planet, that planet had 10 billion people, then the universe energy within 1,000 light years was used to nurture that life planet. And the universe secret regions. Comparable to a universe country's population, yet squeezed into a large continent, the density of the population was countless times higher, the universe essence they obtained was naturally much less. And the god country humans. The god countries were in the crevices of space, not even in the original universe space, the universe essence they could absorb, was much less than the universe secret region humans. The information stated. The god country humans the most in number, yet they can only train to the Sector Lord level. Over countless years, there have only been 9,082 Undyings born, all of them had special encounters. Without them, the god country humans were destined to never become Undyings. Universe secret region humans, the second in number, they are like the universe people, they can train to the Undying level. However, to produce a universe knight, the chances are ridiculously low. The universe country humans, their numbers are the least, yet they occupy the most territory. History has produced large amounts of Undyings, and among the universe knights, 98.2% are all from the universe people. The territory was like fertile land. The larger the territory, the greater the potential of the race, the higher the chances of producing an absolute warrior. Within the large hall. Among the Sector Lord soldiers, the most are the god country humans, right? Luo Feng asked. Right. Tai Wo nodded. Luo Feng sighed within, the god country humans probably didn't know about the secret they discovered before. After all, the chances of becoming an Undying were already extremely low, even the birth of an Undying was extremely rare. The Sector Lords probably didn't realize this problem either. The god country human soldiers, their numbers are the most, hence many of the Sector Lord absolute warriors are from the god country humans. Tai Wo smiled. Going through life and death situations time and time again, many life and death threats, their strength will break through and accumulate huge amounts of merit points to exchange for treasures to strengthen themselves. Even though they are only Sector Lords, some are completely able to match normal Undyings. The three of them drank and chatted. At this time, a Sector Lord Warrior walked over, drawing Luo Feng's attention. This was a 1m tall punk, he had a cute face, there were green engravings on his cheeks, he was almost like a kid at 1m tall. However, the armor he was wearing was obviously not ordinary. Hey Captain, did you manage to rope him in? The short and small Sector Lord pulled a chair over and sat on it. How could it be so easy? 30% of the Sector Lord recruits are elite Sector Lord warriors, and 0.3% are Sector Lord battle generals. To be able to be a Sector Lord battle general as a recruit, all of them are extraordinary, and extraordinary people are not so easy to rope in. Tai Wo smiled, after which he turned to look at Luo Feng and Luo Feng. Let me introduce you, this is... I'll introduce myself. The short Sector Lord immediately picked up his wine glass and poured himself a full glass, smiling as he looked at Luo Feng and Luo Feng. I am Captain Tai Wo's leader, number 026, 2089491 Sector Lord team member, you can call me Poison. I'm a chemist of course. I'm also a Sector Lord Warrior. Poison? Chemist? Sector Lord Warrior? Luo Feng was shocked. Among the strong there were mainly fighters, spirit readers and illusionists. There were very few puppeteers, pharmacists and beast tamers. Especially pharmacists, it was very difficult to achieve success in any of these. Back when he was at the universe level, there was a genius in the absolute beginning region called Luo Feng. He was a chemist. Chemists could defeat the strong as the weak. Chemists were opponents that couldn't be underestimated. Even gods had to be careful against chemists, because chemists' battle strength mainly depended on their drugs. Our Sector Lord team includes a total of 8 people. I'm an Undying, the other 7 under me are all Sector Lord Warriors, of which 2 are fighters, 2 are spirit readers, 2 are hypnotists and the last is a chemist. Tai Wo said proudly, Poison is very important in our team. 2 new friends, come let's toast. The dwarf Poison smiled and raised his glass. Luo Feng and the other raised their wine glasses. Although the 7 people under me are all Realm Lord battle generals, but after experiencing countless life and death battles, their strength broke through time and time again, and only then did they obtain the authority of a Realm Lord battle general. Only Poison. Poison was already a Realm Lord battle general when he was a new recruit. Tai Wo looked at the 2. I don't know if the 2 of you are willing to join my team is still short of 3 people before it's full. A Sector Lord team like ours is definitely one of the most outstanding ones. You guys won't be disappointed if you join. Tivo is a good leader. Poison the gnome raised his head and said as he drank his wine. The tall and steady young man nodded. I, Rock, am willing to join. Haha, good. The Undying Tai Wo seemed very happy, turning to look at Luo Feng. I wonder how about you, madman? Many thoughts flashed through Luo Feng's mind. The army had its rules. Every participant in an alien war had a military requirement. Luo Feng too had a military requirement. Before he accumulated enough military merits, he had to join the establishment and obey orders. Since it was like that, joining an elite Sector Lord team seemed to be a good idea. All right. Luo Feng nodded. Haha. The Undying Tai Wo was obviously very happy, turning to look at a distant corner, communicating through his divine energy. All of you come over. Very quickly 6 silhouettes walked over. Some were tall and sturdy, some were graceful and filled with charm, some were cold and filled with killing intent, some were smiling as they examined everyone. Among them there was the Mother Flame clan that was more than 6 meters tall. Their bodies were like scarlet rocks. They had 2 curved horns on their foreheads and a diamond-shaped crystal between their eyebrows. There was also the Menu clan that was filled with charm and was surrounded by mist. The 6 of them walked over and pulled over chairs at the same time, sitting around. The 10 gathered. Let me introduce you. The Undying Tai Wo pointed at Luo Feng. This is the new recruit Sector Lord Battle General, you can call him Madman. Madman? Ooh, what an arrogant title. The skeleton-like figure sat at the side. In his arms was a glossy white-furred cat. This cat's pupils were purple, almost as though it was enjoying its owner's touch. Why? Don't cause trouble. The pharmacist Poison, who had been drinking to his heart's content, frowned slightly and shouted. Why, little Chin Chin is right. The female Sector Lord of the Mastiff clan smiled too. Don't call me little Chin Chin? The dwarf Poison was a little annoyed. You can call me Zhuchin, don't call me little Chin Chin, I prefer to be called Poison. Little Chin Chin is angry. The female Sector Lord covered her mouth and laughed. Poison looked at him helplessly, lowering his head and continuing to drink. The Captain Tai was smiled at this scene, after which he pointed at the tall youth. This is also a new recruit Sector Lord Battle General, you can call him Rock. Madman Rock. Tai was said again, Poison, you two already know each other, let me introduce you to the other 6 old members. Enchantress, she's an exceptional hypnotist. Sector Lord warriors that can escape from her charm are few and far between. You should know, the Mastiff clan naturally has hypnotizing abilities. That Enchantress who was constantly shrouded in mist smiled too, even though it was blurry and unclear due to the mist, it added to her charm. Whirlwind, a powerful Sector Lord fighter. The expressionless masked fighter with pointy ears only glanced at Luo Feng and Tai Wo, not saying a word. Wild Dance, spirit reader. A smiling handsome purple-haired Sector Lord nodded at Luo Feng and Tai Wo. God, it's this guy who always wears white armor. Even though the battlefield is filled with danger, he still wears the most eye-catching white armor. He calls himself God. He's also a spirit reader. Dressed in white armor, there were some silver scales on his head. His entire smile was almost like a sun. That warm feeling made Luo Feng immediately confirm that this was definitely a Sector Lord that trained in the light laws, and his attainments in it were extremely high as well. Wait, it's that skinny guy who carries that stray cat. That stray cat has been with him for so many years. Ever since he took it in, his strength cannot be underestimated. However, his strength cannot be underestimated. He is also an illusionist and his soul attacks are extremely powerful. The skeletal man carrying the purple-eyed cat, Wei, glanced at Luo Feng and Tai Wo and grinned. The last one, you can call him Hammer, he's a very stable and strong Mother Flame clan member, a powerful Sector Lord fighter. That over 6m tall Mother Flame clan Sector Lord smiled at Luo Feng and Tai Wo. Poison, Succubus, Whirlwind, Berserk Dance, God Spirit, Guard, Hammer, these were the 7 members of the Sector Lord team. They were all Sector Lord battle generals. They had definitely fought their way through thousands of life and death battles. I'm a spirit reader. Luo Feng said. I'm a fighter. Rock said. From then on, this Sector Lord team had 2 new members. After Luo Feng submitted his application, he joined the Sector Lord team numbered 026. 20899491. In the following days, Luo Feng and Rock, these two new recruits, often listened to the old soldier's experience and guidance. Even though the two had some background, they still listened carefully. What, alliance? Rock was shocked. Right, alliance. The main characters of this race war are naturally the four great races. However, the four great races all have many other races as allies. Like us entering the battlefield, we'll meet many of them. Even though they are different races, they are our allies. Don't worry. The virtual universe system will warn you if you're an ally. You'll be warned long ago. If you don't, just kill them immediately. Ah. Rock was still stunned. Luo Feng sat aside and didn't speak. Alliance? Humanity, being the pinnacle race, naturally had many subordinate races like the Golden Horn race. Those subordinate races naturally had to enter the battlefield too. Luo Feng knew this long ago. The battlefield is so cruel, the death rate is so high, it actually exceeds 95%? Rock was shocked again. Only with a high death rate can one train strong warriors. If 20 new soldiers die, there will only be one old soldier left. However, out of 20 normal Sector Overlord Warriors, perhaps an elite Sector Overlord Warrior or even a Sector Overlord Warrior can be eliminated. This kind of terrifying war with a high death rate, in addition to the many treasures that can be used to exchange for some secret techniques. This foreign battleground is known as the place where the human race produces the most strong warriors. And is the 95% death rate high? Not high. According to what I know, the large-scale race war that happens once every 1,000 years, that is a huge decisive battle. That is a battle between countless experts that cover the skies and earth. Even Emperor-level Undyings would be finished if they aren't careful. That's when the death rate is high, it's said to exceed 99%. However, such a large-scale battle can't be fought often. The pinnacle races can't withstand such consumption. 1,000 years? It's within the range of the four great races. Large-scale battle? Final battle? When's the next one? It's still early. Ah. Rock continued to listen obediently. Luo Feng, who sat in the corner, frowned, exclaiming within, the normal long and drawn-out alien wars, the death rate exceeds 95%, this is used to train warriors. It seems like a huge loss, but in truth it's like creating a bug clan emperor, losing large amounts of normal sector lords, creating these powerful sector lords. Their chances of breaking through to Undyings will be much higher. Long drawn-out, cruel alien wars, this is called training. And the huge battle that happens once every 1,000 years, that is called the race meat grinder. After staying in the army camp for 8 days, within these 8 days, the new recruit Rock found out many shocking pieces of information. Luo Feng was very calm, most of the information he found out himself. However, as for the details of the battles and survival in the alien battlefield, Luo Feng carefully listened to the old soldiers talk about it. Luo Feng didn't dare be arrogant at all. On this battlefield, there were countless foreign warriors, all sorts of killing methods and techniques, Undyings everywhere, even Emperor-level Undyings could fall. How could Luo Feng dare to be careless? On the 9th day, this Sector Lord team that absorbed the new recruits and expanded was finally about to set off and enter the battlefield. There are so many people. So many ships. Luo Feng and the others were shocked at the scene before them. This was a hall with a diameter of over 30,000 kilometers. Such a huge hall was enough to hold billions of universe warriors. There have to be millions of them. Definitely. There are already thousands of ships queuing up ahead. Ships after ships were parked in the hall. Some of them were over 1000 m in diameter, some were only 100 m in diameter. The number of warriors were different too. Some universe ships could hold up to 1,000,000 universe warriors, some could only hold a few warriors. Don't just stand there, get on the ship. Leader Tai Wo roared softly. At the same time, he swiftly released a 100 m diameter disc-shaped universe ship from his world ring. The ship appeared in the large hall. Yes. They're here. Tai Wo was the first to swiftly board the ship. The 9 Sector Lord Warriors under him, Mad Dance, God Spirit, Poison, Rock, Madman, all swiftly boarded the ship. The material is E9 grade alloy. Luo Feng's gaze swept the ship as he boarded, carefully looking at the origin law engravings on the ship's surface. It's actually the most basic and normal origin law engravings. Tai Wo is after all an Undying, and one that's lived in the alien battlefield for a long time. Getting a good ship shouldn't be hard. Luo Feng didn't think any further, swiftly boarding the ship. While the cabin door closed, a blur of ships could be seen stopping within the hall, after which they slowly flew forward and entered the pathway. Luo Feng and the group had just entered the ship, when Tai Wo, who was at the front, shouted, "To the resting hall." Not going to the control room? Luo Feng smiled and asked. Since it's an AI controlling the ship in the resting hall, we can still command it. Walking beside Luo Feng, Mad Dance laughed. Mad Dance was a purple-haired handsome youth. He was very friendly. He was the closest to Luo Feng in the Sector Lord team. There was actually another reason why they were close. Because Mad Dance and Luo Feng were both spirit readers, and their looks were rather similar. After all, there were many races within the human race, with all sorts of strange appearances. It was easy to get close to them. After a while, they arrived at the resting hall. It was a room with a diameter of 20 m, 10 m tall, with a total of 400 square meters of space. It was quite spacious for 10 Sector Lords to sit in. Now that I'm safe, my heart feels at ease. Poison leaped onto a sofa and rolled around on it. A safe den? The newbie Rock looked around and was slightly puzzled. The material of the walls of this lounge seems to be F9 level tungsten essence, said Luo Feng softly. F9 grade metal? Rock looked shocked at Luo Feng. The lounge is the safest place in the entire spaceship. The main material of the spaceship is E9 grade alloy, but it can't withstand some of the terrifying attacks of the alien races on the battlefield. Therefore, the captain ordered this lounge that is completely made of tungsten essence. This is also our safe nest, and we have time to react in case of danger. Luo Feng nodded. He was quite smart. Since he couldn't afford an F-grade universe ship, he decided to make one of the cabins out of F-grade metal. I can still afford a lounge, but I can't afford it. But a spaceship, that won't do. Captain Tai Wo smiled and ordered, exterior virtual environment 100%. Even though Luo Feng was sitting on the sofa, he couldn't see the sofa or the floor with his naked eye. He could only see the vast lounge and the universe ships lined up. As time passed, the ships swiftly flew into the pathway. Very quickly, the ship Luo Feng and the others were in two entered the pathway. Following the pathway, after flying in a straight line for about 100,000 kilometers, they began to turn and follow a curved pathway. All the universe ships followed this path. In just a few moments, the gates of the tunnel, which was hundreds of thousands of kilometers long, fell down one after another and began to close. At the same time, the outermost gates of the huge barracks began to open. Of the tens of thousands of pathways, only a few hundred gates were opened. Activate the energy defense. Depart. Captain Tai Wo ordered. The universe ship Luo Feng and the others flew out from one of the pathways of the barracks. Hua! Flying out from the barracks into space, the entire Sector Lord team's 10 members all turned to look at the huge barracks behind them. Even the veterans who had gone out to battle many times couldn't help but turn back to look. Even Luo Feng, who was extremely knowledgeable, was the same. Because it was too majestic. This is the barracks. Luo Feng was shocked. Through the exterior virtual environment he could clearly see the huge barracks floating in space. The entire barracks, according to Luo Feng's estimation, was at least a few million km in diameter. This was a base even bigger than the sun. Simultaneously, this huge base was completely enveloped in a colorful energy barrier. This was an energy barrier that covered a few million km in diameter. It was simply too huge. If one were to look at the sun up close, how shocking would it be? Much less to look at such a terrifying base up close. The colorful energy barrier, the mysterious and powerful solidifying origin laws engravings, the 100 kilometers diameter mechanical cannon barrels, the densely packed pathways, countless energy points. This was a perfect existence that raised the level of a violent war machine to the level of an art. It's too majestic. Tai Wo exclaimed. Look at those cannons. Normal universe ships use energy beams. And this God Base, it still uses the seemingly outdated huge cannons. It seems outdated, however when it truly unleashes its power, it's truly a scene that makes one's heart tremble. One cannon shot and the entire space becomes nothing. The white-robed armored Sector Lord God's eyes were filled with a sense of fervor. Recruit Rock was completely shocked. Even Luo Feng, with his knowledge and experience, was shocked. God Base? What kind of God Base is this? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. A AAA God Base. Poison's eyes too were in a daze, saying softly, the alien battlefield is a war between races. The entire 7th battlefield only has a total of 100 barracks. That's humanity's main base in the battlefield. Naturally it's the highest level God Base. Even the universe country leader level warriors can forget about destroying a AAA God Base. He had checked on the Automaton race's terrifying weapons. Some of the huge weapons were very expensive. Like the space fortress, it was still ridiculously expensive. However, that was just a fortress. And the God Base was the pinnacle of the huge weapons. Every God Base was incomparably expensive. And within the God Bases, AAA God Bases were the highest level God Bases. At least the highest known level. Maybe within the Automaton race's base, there were even more terrifying ones. The barracks were the safest. Every barracks were considered AAA God Bases. Even if trillions of warriors attacked, they would still be able to instantly turn the surrounding space into nothing. The barracks are the universe warrior's safe haven. Poison laid on the sofa, holding a bottle of wine. The barracks are the safest. You don't have to worry at all. However, the moment you leave the barracks, you'll be surrounded by danger. After all, this is a universe secret region with a diameter of over 1,000,000 light years. The entire star field is a battlefield. Luo Feng looked at the space outside. With a glance. With Luo Feng's vision, one had to know that Luo Feng could maintain close to light speed and still easily dodge obstacles. Hence, even though this universe ship was moving at sub-light speed, Luo Feng could still clearly see the outside scene. Like the broken bug clan corpses, broken ship wreckages, human corpses etc. floating in space. Some were directly smashed through by the universe ship. Some wreckages, corpses etc. they should be valuable too. Recruit Rock frowned and asked. No one's an idiot. A low voice resounded from the Mother Flame clan Sector Lord Hammer's throat. The universe ship's scanning signal has long been scanned. Those floating wreckages and corpses aren't worth much. If they were, they would have been snatched away long ago. If they didn't, then it could be a trap. Recruit Rock, have you noticed, our universe ship isn't moving in a straight line. Instead, we're avoiding the land wreckages and large ship wreckages? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed when he heard this. That was indeed the case. Because those places could very well be hiding alien enemies. You must know, in the entire star field, other than the barracks, every other place is a battlefield. Hammer said solemnly. Don't think that we old soldiers are relaxed. However, every single one of us is prepared for battle. Alright, stop scaring the new recruits. Captain Tai Wo smiled. Our destination this time is a place about 80,000 light years away from Camp 026. That's a place where many strong warriors are fighting intensely. For an elite Sector Lord squad like us, what we do is like a sharp blade. In a while we'll reach a region. There's no wreckage or trash there. We can accelerate as much as we want and enter universe travel. The moment we enter dark space we'll be safe. We can rest well. While we're in dark space, everyone has 3 days to rest. The moment we reach our destination, it'll be a bloody battle. Universe secret regions were different from normal universe space. There was too much dust and wreckage. Hence, they had to purposely clear a large region without any obstructions to enter universe travel. In the 7-star field battlefield, there were over 100 million such universe travel points. Rumble. Peng. The universe ship tried its best to avoid the dangerous regions. After a while they arrived at the cleared region. However, just at this distance, Luo Feng could see many powerful energy explosions. The other Sector Lord Warriors were all tensed up. They were clear that a battle could break out at any time. After entering dark space, there's no need for everyone to be so tense. 10, 9, 7, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 travel. Flying in the dark universe for 3 days, after which they pass through the universe. Everyone be careful, don't get careless. Within the resting room, Tai was shouted, simultaneously pointing at the empty space outside where there were no debris or obstructions. From this empty region to our destination, we still need to fly for a total of 2 months. However, these 2 months, we've been flying in all sorts of dangerous areas. These 2 months, battles could break out at any time. I know, Captain. Poison held the wine bottle and smiled. Us 7 old soldiers, the shortest time we've been in the battlefield outside is over 8,000 years. Even when we're drunk we'll still maintain our vigilance. This has already become subconscious. Speaking of which, these 2 new soldiers have to be more careful. Don't drag us down. The skeleton guard hugging the white purple-eyed cat snorted coldly. They're not really dragging us down. Poison glanced at Luo Feng and Tai Wo. The old soldiers are all new soldiers. Rock, Madman, you 2 remember the battle experiences we've shared with you before. Don't look down on those small experiences. They've all been accumulated from countless life and death battles. Understood. Rock nodded. Luo Feng nodded too. With regards to these 7 old soldiers, Luo Feng had discovered quite a few things. Firstly, amongst these 7, Poison's position seemed to be the highest. Even the Captain Tai Wo was very courteous to him. Usually, Poison would scold the other old soldiers. However, the other Sector Lord soldiers didn't have any complaints. This was completely a form of authority formed from countless life and death battles. Actually, back when Tai Wo invited Luo Feng and Madman to join this little team, Poison was the first to run over. He could also sense some problems. Rock, Madman, just be more careful. If a battle breaks out, Captain Tai Wo instructed, we don't need you 2 to work well with the others, temporarily be mobile members. You 2 see which of the other 7 old soldiers is in danger, immediately go and support them. At the start, the main force of the battle will still be the 7 old soldiers. The ship was moving at sublight speed, carefully advancing in space, avoiding all the places where the strong could hide. Within a broken universe ship, within a cabin, there were 3 members of the Automaton race gathered there. These 3 members of the Automaton race seemed to be made of metal, and they looked very similar. At first glance, they looked like 3 metal men, and they were sitting on 3 different alloy chairs. Haha, this time with the 3 of us working together we can wipe out the entire team led by the foreign race Undying. That foreign race Undying should have official level strength, right? One of the Automaton people grinned. This time Parati, you did a great job, heavily injuring and holding back that alien race Undying. Only then did we have the chance to kill the other Sector Lords, and then we joined hands to kill that alien race Undying. As expected of an official Undying, you really have so much wealth. Parati, let's split the treasures. As they spoke, the 2 automatons looked at the 3rd automaton. The 3rd machine, called Parati, had a layer of exquisite dark red armor on his body. He looked calmly at the other 2 machine race members. Then he flipped his hand and took out 2 interspatial rings and threw them at the 2. Our temporary cooperation ends here. You 2 can leave. Parati said coldly. The 2 automatons grinned and each caught one of the interspatial rings. At the same time they swiftly checked it. With this check, the 2 automatons' eyes were filled with rage. Parati. The 2 automatons suppressed their rage. Why aren't you leaving? Parati's eyes were cold as he stared at the 2. This time we teamed up, and the battle points of killing that official Undying were all on you alone. The spoils of war? You actually want to take more than 95%. The dark green armored automaton roared softly. The other silver armored automaton also raged, you're too much. Parati looked coldly at the 2 just like that. We're not asking for much. 40% split between the 2 of us. You take 60% and we each take 20%. The dark green armored automaton said. The other automaton beside nodded in agreement. Scram. Parati roared furiously. Without me you 2 still want to deal with that official Undying? Even though he's just an official, he already has an undying body. To kill him, you think it's easy? Do you know how much I paid? You still want to split the spoils of war with me? I'm giving you some because you're from my race. If it wasn't for the fact that killing you 2 will result in severe punishment, I would have gotten rid of you 2 long ago. The other 2 automatons glanced at each other and gritted their teeth. I hope you can live longer. The two mechs instantly turned into a stream of light and left the cabin of the broken spaceship wreckage. Two idiots. Parati snorted coldly, his eyes flashing with sharpness. Even though he looked like a metal man, he was after all a life form. Even though his body was extremely tough, it was also very flexible. And I lost quite a bit this time, but killing that Undying made up for it with the military points. Along with the spoils of war, it's not bad. However, my army strength is greatly damaged. It's time to return to the God Spirit base and recover. Parati pondered. Every automaton in truth could be called an automaton kingdom. Of course, the strength of an automaton kingdom depended on their ability to control and command as well as their wealth. Both were indispensable. If one had a huge automaton army, just relying on AIs to fight wasn't enough. One had to rely on the automatons to control the entire army and make them unleash attacks infused with laws, coordinating intricately. That way their battle strength could increase by tens to hundreds of times. Automatons were essentially AIs. And AIs, the moment they understood laws, along with their innate ability to calculate and command, they were extremely terrifying. Coupled with all kinds of mechanical weapons, one's combat power would reach a terrifying level. This was a pinnacle race that wasn't any weaker than the Bug race. The Bug Queen's battle was more instinctive. The Automaton race's battle was more about intelligence, technique and strategy. Oh, there's a human universe ship? Sitting in the broken ship, Parati's eyes gleamed. Made of E9 grade alloy, the engravings on the surface are very low end, looks like a normal Sector Lord team. However, I can't eliminate the possibility of it being an elite Sector Lord team in disguise. However, as long as its strength is within my range, I can still deal with it. After this, I'll head back to base to replenish my strength. Parati laughed. Laughable humans trying to rely on a universe ship to find my scouting point. In terms of technology, compared to us automatons, it's too average. In space, one could see wreckage, corpses, ship wreckage, weapon wreckage, etc. floating in space. Floating in the void, the seemingly ordinary metal plate had a very special pattern on its surface. At this time, these patterns were constantly flowing with a heart-palpitating energy. The energy began to accumulate and gradually, a transparent ball of light appeared on the surface of the metal plate. Attack. In the distance, Parati gave the order. D. Rumble. A glaring beam of light immediately pierced through space and struck the disc-shaped universe ship that was flying at high speed. In an instant, a portion of the ship's body melted. At the same time, the beam of light contained a powerful energy that tore apart the thick E9 grade alloy ship's body, causing the entire disc-shaped universe ship to explode into a huge fireball. Rumble, the shockwave emanated in all directions, traveling tens of thousands of km, causing large amounts of dust and wreckage to be blown far away. Within the disc. I'll bet that Madman will get the most points. I'll bet on Rock. Look at Rock, such a steady little punk, haha. This time he'll definitely get more points than Madman. I'll bet one mixed element on Rock. He really dares to bet. I'll bet on Madman, I'll bet one mixed element too. I'll bet on Rock. Madman. A few of the Sector Lord old soldiers were gathered around to place their bets. Every time they came out to battle, the shortest would last a few years, the longest could last a few thousand years. And these 7 old soldiers were obviously interested in who would perform better between Luo Feng and the other recruit, with Poison as the banker. They swiftly placed their bets. You two aren't betting? Both of you, I'll accept your bets. Poison, who was squatting on the sofa, shouted. Rock grinned. Luo Feng laughed. Warning, warning, trouble. A piercing AI's voice suddenly resounded throughout the resting hall, causing the old soldiers who were chatting to change their expressions. Almost at the same time, every single one of them swiftly took out their weapons. The moment the alarm rang, the entire universe ship shook violently, the resting hall too shook violently. The outer layer of the universe ship completely exploded, and this resting hall that was completely made of F9 grade metal was like a can that was kicked away. The entire resting hall, due to the strong force of the explosion, was sent flying in mid-air. Because the entire resting hall was constantly being sent flying. Within the cabin, Captain Tai Wo and the 9 soldiers all felt extremely uncomfortable. Rumble. Tai Wo immediately unleashed his powerful undying energy, enveloping the entire resting hall. Everyone get out. Tai Wo ordered. Rumble. The resting hall's 4 cabin doors opened simultaneously. Let's go. Poison roared softly, the armor on his body immediately covered his entire body, only revealing his eyes. Beside him, the Mother Flame Clan hammer held a huge hammer and a huge shield. The 2 of them flew out simultaneously through the same door. At the same time, the other old soldiers flew out in pairs. So, the old soldiers swiftly flew out through the cabin doors. Luo Feng carried the Nanshan armament and followed.